Hey guys, welcome to Cricket Fanatics magazine. I'm your host Khalid, and today we're going to have an amazing session, fan call in for all of you guys, as well as our IPL review. So, as per usual, what we're going to do is we'll obviously have my co-hosts on the show. Today we got amazing co-hosts again. I'm really excited for this combination because I think we're going to have some heated discussions. Man, it's going to be a lot of fun to actually talk about cricket in such a passionate way and to get you guys also on the bandwagon supporting. And obviously the topic as well. The topic was actually chosen by one of our co-hosts, and I think that is going to be awesome for him to actually give his say on this and us to be able to give our opinions. Obviously, we'll all have our strong opinions on it, but obviously, with the IPL just finishing off today, the match finishing off this evening, I thought the best way to do is just to summarize this whole weekend of fixtures and talk about the South Africans that have performed in this fixtures for this weekend. So, without further ado, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring on my IPL fan specialist, Aditya, on the show to have a chat with me about what has happened over the last weekend. So, welcome to the show, Aditya. Once again, nice to see you again. I know it's
Thank
only been a
you.
day or since I last saw you, but still missed you.
I missed you too, man.
No, how's it? So, let's get in with the fresh content. Let's start with today. Someone in particular that a lot of South Africans will be very happy about to see perform. Quint de Kock, in his in full swing again and in his best form as he's ever been. That's 53. So let's talk me through the game. Do you see Mumbai putting out the victory because of the hot form that DC have been in?
So, as you said, that's exactly how we want to see Quinton de Kock bat, a smart, sensible manner, and just accumulating runs that in the way that only he can. DC put up 162 for four in their 20 overs, and as their captain Shreyas Iyer said in the post-match presentation, they were about 10 or 15 runs short, in part because of Marcus Stoinis' run out, who has been one of their key figures in their middle order. So they were about 15 runs short, and then Quinton de Kock came in, and I think his 50 it basically sealed the game. There was no way that Delhi was gonna come back, given that Mumbai Indians have such a strong middle order and an informed middle order with Ishan Kishan scoring runs, Surya Kumar Yadav scoring runs, Karan Pollard being in the runs. So Mumbai Indians were always ahead of the game, and predictably they posted another victory and they're top of the table. It was also good to see KG Rabada take two wickets again. I think it's been about 21 games on the trot that KG has taken at least one wicket, which tells you what a potent force he is in
Crazy,
T20
man.
cricket. That's a phenomenal record, and I don't think any other bowler has that sort of record. It's outstanding.
Yeah. Jeez, that's incredible, actually. Yo, to think about it, the
Yeah.
amount of, and then we want to talk about the workload that guy goes under. Look at this. I mean, when he has a free break,
Exactly.
look what he does, the damage he causes. So maybe we should be giving him breaks down the line. I mean, so that he can perform like this more often, especially before big tournaments. We want him to do this in World Cups.
I think up until last year, the World Cup last year, between 2015 and the World Cup last year, I think he had the most workload of any bowler in the world, which tells you how important it is for cricket boards to be giving the prime bowlers rest, because it's important for them to sort of rejuvenate and remain fresh, particularly for the big tournaments. And we've seen how he's performed in this IPL. Another game that sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so we actually have a caller. We weren't gonna take calls so soon. But we have a caller waiting for us. You can talk about this particular game, and then we can continue with the game that you're talking about, because there's someone else obviously that South Africans have been waiting to see play that did well as well. But let's get Ashwani's comments quickly. It won't be a long call because we still have another show and another topic to talk about. So welcome to the show, bro. What you want to say about the game today?
Hello, Khalid, and hello, Aditya. Yeah. I want to say that DC's fielding, especially Prithvi Shaw, he has to work on his fielding. I think he's very light on his fielding. He's only, I think, 20 or 21, but he is very light on his fielding. He has to work on it. Plus, one thing I want to say that DC has to sort out their top order. Their top order not scoring at that rate which it should be. I can say that Prithvi Shaw, he is a hit and miss mostly. Today they tried Ajinkya Rohane, which is good option, but he's I can say that yes, top order player. You cannot try him in middle order. So DC has to see that aspect. Overall, they
What
have
do
a
you?
good side. Yes.
Yeah. No,
Overall,
continue.
they have a good. Yeah. Overall, they have a good side. Plus, they also sort out. They don't have any Indian leg spinner because Mishra is out of the tournament due to injury. They also see that because you see that in T20 tournaments, leg spinner has a strong case to be in the squad. You see Rashid Khan, Chahal, and many others. They have to see that.
And what do you think about particularly Quinton de Kock's performance and Kagiso Rabada's performances so far?
Yeah, finally Decock comes into the party. I am waiting for Decock to fire, and I'm very surprised why he's not firing. So today is a chance he got, and he clicks. KG is always a world-class bowler. I listened to Aditya. Yeah, he's right. KG made his debut, I think, in 2016, and from there onwards, he bowled maximum numbers over combined in Test, T20, and in ODIs. I think next maybe Hazelwood. Next maybe Hazelwood. Hazelwood don't play all three formats. He mostly plays Test cricket. So you can also take that aspect in 2019 World Cup. KG's performance is not that great, which it should have been, but due to the over workloads, because of I can say that because he played all three formats, due to the over workload, he don't perform that highly, which we expect from.
Yeah. That World Cup, that IPL tournament before the World Cup really hurt him.
Yes, yes, yeah,
Really,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
he got an injury and he had to come fly back. I was speculating at the time whether it was just them, South Africa trying to pull them out. I know that Otis Gibson did send a letter in to ask the IPL to bring him back earlier so he can have some
Yes,
rest.
yes.
And they
This is
didn't
one of
allow
the
it and then he got injured.
yeah. This is one of the reason why he's not performing that well in World Cup.
Yeah. But thanks a lot, Ashwani, for coming on the show. We're going to continue
Yeah,
with the rest of
I
the show.
basically come from South African cricket. I don't
Yeah.
follow that much T20 cricket. I follow Test and ODIs mostly.
Okay, that's brilliant. That's awesome. When we have a discussion, we'll bring you on again. Thanks a lot for
Okay,
coming
okay.
on.
Thank
See
you.
you, man. So Aditya, there's one more performance I want to talk to you about, and that's Chris Morris. Guys out there, if you want to call in for the next part of the show, which we're going to get into, which is the main part of the show, which is the best finishes in South African cricket, I just want to get Aditya to speak about Chris specifically, because I mean, I think a lot of people would be happy about his performance, obviously, in the game.
It was wonderful to see Chris Morris back after an injury, and uh, he said before the game that he was quite nervous, and he told Virat Kohli that he was he had a few butterflies in his stomach. But it was wonderful to see him bowl up front, and I think he's going to resolve some of RCB's bowling up front and the death bowling woes. He was bowling fast. He was bowling accurately, and he looked threatening, which for his first game back was quite a stellar performance. And I think he's going to go from strength to strength in future games. So it's good. I want to see him, bowl at least 2 overs in the first six, and then possibly hit the death. But there's one other performance that I want to talk about from the game yesterday, and that is Virat Kohli's. Because when RCB came into bat, the power play was pretty sedate, and they lost a couple of quick wickets. At the end of 10 overs, they were about 69 for 3, and they posted 169 for 4. Now Virat Kohli, who is not a power hitter by any means, he scored 90 or 52, and in that innings he hit 28 singles, 11 doubles. He played 5
Sure.
dot balls, hit 4 boundaries and 4 sixes. Now
It's
that
an
tells you, I
incredible
think,
innings.
for any aspiring cricketer, where we keep talking about the power game in T20 cricket, I think we've shown that
Yeah.
the highest scorer in IPL cricket has just produced a masterclass playing smart cricket, rotating strike, running hard,
Yeah.
and playing largely risk-free cricket. I don't
That
think
one
there's a better
flick
exhibition.
for 6. I was like, what are you doing, bro? That's not even allowed. I was like, with no effort. I was just like crazy. And then he still looked at AB de Villiers and he like pointed at AB. He's like, it was incredible. Anyway, yeah, about Chris Morris. You see, I'm trying to look at it as critical as possible because I mean, I think Chris Morris is someone that needs to kind of prove to me, maybe, and he doesn't have to prove to me. I'm not a selector or anything, but I'm just saying to gain my trust again. It's like one of those situations where you look at these figures and you see 3 for 19, and you're like, wow. And if you didn't watch the game, you would think, wow, amazing, he's back, whatever. Now look at 2 of those wickets, and that one particular over, we got the 2 wickets. One went short, one went wide, one went one good Yorker, and then a full toss wicket. And I was like, you know, like he gets a bit lucky as well. So it's quite interesting. But that's just my point of view. Thanks a lot, Aditya, for coming on the show. Do you want to leave the fans with one more last thing?
Yeah, I think Chris Morris is an impact player. He's one of those guys where you can't expect him to have the sort of consistency that perhaps Lungi might give you or KG might give you. Because I think they're just different types of bowlers. But what you can expect from Morris is speed. And sure, he'll go for the occasional boundary, but I think he is likely to get you those important breakthroughs as well. And let's not forget that run out. I think that was a fantastic run out of Narayan Jagdishan. And it was a game-changing run out. So he's quite an asset in the field as well. But yeah, I think he's only going to get better from here on. And I hope they continue to use him well.
I think some South Africans might call him a X-Factor player, but I think that he still needs to turn it up a notch to be able to be labeled fully like that. But thanks a lot, DJ, for coming on the show. Thanks a lot for talking to me again. We'll catch up again soon for more IPL fixtures. Okay. And yeah, have a good evening. I know it's late there by you.
See you. No worries, man. Yes.
Let's see. But so, guys, now we're going to get into the real meat of this particular discussion. We're going to be talking about the big finishes in South African cricket. And I think it ties in with our conversation that we had last time about who are the South African talents, obviously, in the country, etc. But I'm going to need some help with this one. And so I'm going to bring on Umpo and Lubabalu to help me. It was actually Lubabalu's choice to talk about this particular topic. And I thought, let's jump on it. I thought this was an awesome topic for you guys to get involved in. If you guys want to come on to the show, you can click on the link in the description and you can come and have your say. So without further ado, let's get into it. Umpo, man like Umpo, and man like Lubabalu.
What's up? Good.
It's the first time you guys are both on a podcast with me. So, like, I've spoken to Lubabalu separately and you separately. I'm glad that you guys are meeting because I think that this is going to be a feisty conversation.
I think we've met before. We have met before.
Yes, we have.
Yeah, we have met before. We won't talk about the circumstances. It's not for this platform. But we've met.
Oh, let's get into that a little bit.
No.
This is our late night, laid back show. Anything goes.
There are people watching here. Some of our jobs are on the line here, so let's not go.
Awesome, guys. So a lot of guys have come into the comment section already. They've climbed in saying who their finishers are in the games. So I can give you some before we get started. We can obviously go between the two of you. Some guys say David Miller is the best one. Some people say Hendrik Klaasen. Reginald has said Marco Murray. That's one of the guys that I look at and I'm looking at very much in the future. And let's start with you, Umpo. Oh, actually, that's not fair. Let's start with Lubabalu because it was his decision to come up with this topic.
No, actually, you can start with Umpo. It's fine.
Okay, Umpo. Let me hear your thoughts. Who popped up into your head when I asked you the question initially? Who was the first person that popped into your head?
The guy look, for me, I have a problem with this guy, and I think he should bat slightly higher. But the first one that obviously pops into your head is David Miller. But then the next one that popped into my head was in 2016. It wasn't ODI, it wasn't necessarily T20. In the pink ODI, who was it? Chris Morris saved our asses that day.
Yeah.
The Warriors on a Friday night. He saved us. And he has that batting ability, but many people don't talk about it because he always bats very late, doesn't get enough balls to get started, and he hasn't like built a reputation like you would say a David Miller has over the last 10 years, even though it's been hit or miss. I'm interested to see what Lubabalo thinks in terms of, what is, because from an eye test, Miller doesn't look like the great finisher, but he does the job. Whereas, like, if you compared Miller to Klusner on an eye test, you'd always pick Lance Klusner. But David Miller's job for South Africa, not necessarily as consistently, but he's been there. And it was just largely because of the fact that he always comes in at those times in the innings. It's not a situation where he kind of builds it. And I felt that Miller needs to build an innings in order for him to finish. He just can't come in and hit. But from a pure hitting perspective, it's Chris Morris, Dwayne Pretorius, maybe even a Heino Klaassen. But those were the guys that I thought of coming in. I thought of Marco Murray. I just felt that Marco Murray and that Nelson Mandela Bay Giants team was helped out by the fact that they had so much batting depth in that lower middle order that it made it very easy to kind of slot in. And by the time he came in, they were finishing, or he came in at 140 and he had to take the total from 140 to 180 or 180 to or 160 to 200. So, but I'm happy with the Marco Murray call. But those are the guys that I thought of.
So before we get to Lubabalo, I'm going to milk it a bit and say, guys, please subscribe, click the notification bell for all future videos. Let's get into Lubabalo's comments.
Okay, but I think one of the first things that we need to note is finishing it's not the easiest of things to do, because you'll either come in when the team needs a quick 20, or sometimes you'll come in when the team needs you to sort of rebuild or something like that. I agree with Umpo with regards to David Miller. I feel it's time for him to bat higher now. He had that promise that he would be the guy who comes in and just bashes the ball. But over the years, he has matured into a sort of proper batsman, a guy who must come in. He needs a lot of balls, which is something I think we missed a trick with JP Duminy. JP could finish matches, but he was the sort of guy that needed to face a lot of balls first to play himself in. Then he's going to finish for you. For me, my two guys, it's Vian Lube and Marco Murray. Those are the two guys that I say they are the best finishers in SA. I chose to shy away from the guys who've sort of played for the Proteas. You look at the two of them, their ability to come in and just smoke the ball from ball one. That's one quality you need from a finisher. A guy who can just come on and just go from ball one. At the same time, I also back their ability to actually construct and build an innings. So for me, these are the two guys. But I also have one guy. It's so a lot of people won't agree. Mangaliso Musihle. I know in the last 12 months or so he's been out of form, but he's also a guy who can just come in and smoke the ball from ball one. He can actually hit the ball. So an informed Mangi Musihle would actually be able to do the job. But if I were to rank the three of them, I'd go with Vian Lube, because he also offers some off spin. And then I'd put Marco at 2, and then follow with Umangi at 3rd. Those are the three guys that I'd say they can come on and smash the ball. But I also disagree with Umpo with regards to Marco. I'm not a big T20 fan, but I remember there was 1 or 2 games where the Giants were actually in trouble. He came on, he played his natural game, and he took them across. So it wasn't always a matter of them scoring a lot of runs and giving him a platform, but there were a few games where they actually struggled to score runs, and then whenever he came on, he played well and he actually took the team across.
I mean, I had a conversation with him in one of the games, training sessions, and I asked him about that, because the number 6 position is a specialist position as well, and that's what a lot of people don't actually They just think, okay, cool, you just pitch your best batsman in order. That's not how it works. I think you have to pick the guys according to who's their partners, what time they're going to come in. That's why you'll see that the lineup sometimes switches around when the actual game goes on. They'll bring in people earlier or later according to the batch situation. And I was always in favor of having a squad or a team where you can do that, where you can move someone up the order when you need him to come in and solidify the game, or you can move someone up the order to be able to speed up the game at the top. If the opener struggled and lost an early wicket and you need to just get the game going in the power plays, you must be able to do that. That's why I like the likes of Rassie van der Dussen in the squad, who can play in all top 4 positions and even can bat lower down. Like, you need players that are versatile, and I think Vian Libbe is one of those guys. And Vian, if you're listening, now you can't message me to ask me why I didn't select you in my side. So you can you can go over here and send me a message and you can tell me this thumbs up. Yes, thank you for mentioning us. So Vian is one of those guys I feel that can bat as well up.
Look, I like Vian Libbe. I'm a fan, and my big thing with having a finisher and this topic is what's the definition of a finisher? Is it being able to come in and strike the ball well, or being able to carry your team over the finish line? Because if it's carrying your team over the finish line, guys like, yes, he's old and I don't think he'll ever play for the Proteas again. Guys like Behardine are guys you need to look into, because they can manage. And as Aditya was talking earlier on, being able to manage an innings at the back end, the way Virat Kohli batted yesterday was insane. You know, that's the type of thing it is. And I don't think we should be able to box guys like Libbe and Marco Murray in a box. Yes, they can hit a ball hard and long, and that's what we want. And yes, teams around the world have got guys like that who can come in and just hit a ball, and that's what they're there to do. But the problem with South Africa, and this is what happened with David Miller, is that David got pigeonholed into the fact that he's going to be the finisher because he was able to see a ball and turn it into a half volley. But largely, David Miller's that's the key. Because if you bring in David Miller earlier, he can score the hundreds, and that's the one thing that's been missing out of his ODI career, is a lot more hundreds, because of the fact that every time South Africa found themselves in trouble early on, Miller wasn't the guy they brought on. They'll put in somebody else who they thought could play singles and twos a lot better, and David Miller got stuck with less balls to play with. It's the same argument I have with AB de Villiers. If you want to play AB de Villiers, it's either he opens or he plays at number 3. He bats at number 3. There's no hiding him in the batting lineup. And my problem with guys who are as gifted as Marco Murray and Vian Libbe is that we don't want to get to that point, because they can bat at 6 because they have the ability to put the ball on the golf course from the Wanderers. But also, we can't be running away from the fact that they can also play the best innings. And I think that's where the thing comes in. But from a finishing perspective, just pure ball striking, those two that Lubabalas and they have named are probably the best that we have in the country. The problem about this is that they need a second skill to get into the team. For you to bat number 6, limited overs game, that means you need all, or you need to bat. And so from a point of view of, let's say, okay, fine, let's look at guys, and that's what I was trying to do today, to say, okay, can a bowling all-rounder per se give you strike rates of about above 120, 130, and that's where I picked Dwayne Pretorius. That's where I had to go back and look at Chris Morris. Another guy from left field is George Linder. George Linder can bat higher up in the batting order, in my opinion, but if he can strike the ball well, lower down the order, it gives him a little bit of a push into the side over Bjorn Fortuin, because then you've got a left arm spinner in the side who can actually you can rely on from his batting. And so that's, I think, the argument might need to go into. Libbe and Marco have another set of skills. Can it work in a Proteas context? That's the question I was always.
So guys, I just want to tell you guys on the screen quickly, if you see your mic just muting randomly, it's going to be me because of the feedback and stuff. So I just want to try to control that. Don't be alarmed if you see it muted. I will unmute you again when you turn to talk. Lubabalo, before you get onto that comments of what Mpo said now, I've got some callers waiting in the back end. I just want to give their say quickly. Let them bring them on. Abai first and foremost, and then Aswani again. He's back because he likes this topic. So let them both.
How's it going, everybody? How's it going, everybody?
Fine, man.
Abai, before we get to you, Let me just get to Ashwani quickly so that he can give his comments about David Miller, and then he can leave again because we have more callers waiting.
Yeah.
So
If
Ashwani.
if you call a finisher, what is the definition of finisher for you?
So a finisher for me, and I'm going to allow Paul and Lubabalo to give their say on this as well. But a finisher for me is someone that will come in to a situation where we are just need about, let's say, 40 runs in the last 3 overs, 2 overs, whatever, and we need them to finish it off and get the runs to win the game when we're in a difficult situation. I also think a finisher is someone that can come in when there's a lot of wickets down, and he can take us home. So finish the game for us and take us home.
Yes.
And that's my definition for a finisher. But before you get into it, Ashwani, I just want to ask Paul and what Lubabalo, what they think about that. So Paul, first of all, what do you think of what a finisher is?
Same as you. Hit the ball and take us home when it's the balls are winning more. The runs are winning more than the balls at that point in time, and also being able to carry the team home. Not necessarily looking for boundaries but being able to manage the game such that it ends. Just like how Mahendra Singh Dhoni does it for India. I think he does it both ways, and he does it very well.
First of all, I want to tell you that 3 finishers I saw in my lifetime when I started to watch cricket, the all-time greats. First is Michael Bevan, second is Lance Klusener, third is Mahendra Singh Dhoni when he is in his peak. Yeah. So I want to say that for South African cricket, the best finisher will be David Miller, because I saw his innings. I saw his innings in Cape Town, maybe in 2016 against Australia. He scored 100, I think, while chasing. So he has the ability to chase the score. And second one is Chris Morris, because I saw him against England when England came to South Africa in 2015-16. He scored a match-winning, I think, 70s or 80s, and put his side to home. And third one is, I want to say that George Lind, because he come to India, he played Test series. I saw his batting. He has the ability to dug around and play big shots as well. So these 3 are, I want to say that, will become South Africa's good finishers.
Okay. So thanks a lot, bro, for giving your say. I'm going to get them to give their say on it. But thanks a lot for tuning in. We'll chat to you again soon. Cheers, man. So Lubabala, I'm going to give it to you first. What are your thoughts about these choices that he made?
Definition of I think it's a bit it's something that's a bit complex. Do we go for batting position? Do we go for how a batsman bats? Because, for instance, I had a chat with someone on Twitter. We were talking about David Miller and Joss Butler. You look at Miller's second innings when chasing. You look at his numbers when chasing in comparison to his numbers overall, and you'd find that he's way behind Joss Butler. And then now that's where the whole discussion about finishing becomes more complex. Do we look at batting in the first innings, or do we only look at batting in the second innings? Because when batting in the first innings, you're basically setting a total. But for me, you guys pretty much summed it up. A finisher is someone who can come in and take the team home, regardless of whether he needs to strike the ball at the high strike rate, or he needs to buckle up and build his innings. So a finisher is definitely someone who can play both in type of innings. Someone who can come in, maybe we need, let's say, 60 or 100 runs. Someone who can bat with the tail. That's another thing I think a finisher quality that a finisher must have. Which is probably why we had which is probably why we had, I don't want to say it's an obsession, but which is probably why we had JP Duminy stuck at 6 and 7. Because he was one of the few guys who could actually bat with the tail. So for me, if you can play 3 type of innings, you can come in, smash the ball, you can come in, just buckle up, build an innings, take us home, and you can also bat with the tail. Those are the 3 things that I'd say make a good finisher. guys like David Miller, with what Mpo said, personally, I believe before 2015, compared David Miller before 2015 and from 2015, you'll see that David Miller is a different kind of batsman. Before 2015, he wasn't a guy who could come on and take those singles, which is probably why they never thought of promoting him. Because if you look at guys that batted at 4 and 5, even when Miller was there, JP batted there. Riley was also a guy who batted there. They never thought of batting him there probably because of his batting at that time. He wasn't a guy who could come on and just rotate the strike. But from 2015, if you look at him now and then you see he's more of a matured batsman. You can actually bat him at 4 now. I think he actually has great numbers at 4 or 5. So that's where you can actually bat him, because he's not a guy who's going to come on and just smoke the ball from ball 1. But the longer David Miller bats, the better for the team. Because if he bats long, then he gets in, then is going to be able to finish the innings for you.
Yeah, you know what my concern is about David, and there's something that I saw, and I would love to see him Miller time back and him come in and perform again. I'm going to give it to a buy now, but I just want to say one thing. I think it was the game against Australia where he came in and we were in trouble, and we needed him to switch it on, and he started rotating the strike with the tail. And I was like, what are you doing? You need to farm the strike now. This is the time now where you need to farm the strike and go for shots. Don't give it to Kagiso or Lungi. I don't know if Kagiso was playing that game, but I think don't give it to our tail enders to bat. You need to take the control there, and you need to take the decision and take the game by the scruff of the neck and take us home. And I've seen this quite often that he's been doing this in ODIs and in especially in ODIs as well. I know there might be 4, 5, 6 overs left, and I know there's a lot of time to go, and you want to get your eye in or whatever. But there's certain times that you need to just take the game by the scruff of the neck and just take hold of it and say, look, yeah, I'm going to bat. Let me do this. And that was a little bit about my concern about him. Bye, if you're ready. Not ready? Okay, cool. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. All good. So yeah, I was listening along, and I've heard quite a few names, but yeah, looking at the fact that the World T20 is about a year away, I think there comes a time when you have to back those who have enough experience to make it big at the highest level. So if we look at David Miller, we can't say he's been in the best form in recent times, but then again, he has quite a reputation as a middle order hitter. And here's a comparison. Like if you look at the IPL, take Mumbai and Chennai, for example, they have a reputation of having unwavering faith in certain players. And that in turn is a confidence builder for them. And it ends up being a win-win situation for the team, because the team benefits from their performance and the players benefit because it builds their confidence, and they know that they have what it takes to improve game by game. So using that logic, I think we should be able to back Miller, and I think he will be able to come good. I mean, as a matter of fact, he averages 40 in ODIs, and he's got an impressive strike rate in T20s. So I would say definitely David Miller. I think Henrik Klaassen is an impressive player. If we compare him to how he was 2 years ago to how he's doing now, just look at how he did against Australia. He was impressive. Like he can play a solid innings, and he can hit towards the end of the innings. So he's become very versatile batsman. So Miller, Klaassen, and then if we were to look at someone who's uncapped, I would probably say Marco Murray, but it's probably too early to integrate him in T20 international plans, considering that the big tournament is not so far away. So that's where I'm going to start.
I can see him sitting there. He's like, yeah, so cricket with an American accent.
I love his accent. I love it. Abai speaks. I think the one thing I disagree with Abai on is that I agree on the Miller comment, and largely from my point is David Miller's confidence has to come from the fact that he's played for the Proteas for 10 years. Like there's nothing I can tell him that 10 years in the green and gold jersey can't give him. I honestly think, as Lubabalo says, in 2015, 2016, he moved to the Knights and things changed. His batting changed. He became a much more responsible batsman, which kind of helps and works. I think from a Marco Murray perspective, and this is why I disagree with you about, I think putting in players who are fearless, who can just hit the ball without any regard is something that this Proteas team has missed. That fearless nature of, I'm going to come in, I don't care what's going to go on. If I lose my wicket, I lose my wicket, and I'll play like that. That has gone out the Proteas window from as long as I have watched the game, probably since 1999. And largely it's because of the value that everyone kind of places on their spot in the team rather than just going out and play their natural game. We get told they play their natural game, but actually they don't, which is why bringing in new guys like Marco Murray, Vian Libba, and just telling them to play the ball as they see it. And the Nelson Mandela Bay Giants experiment last year with Marco Murray worked because he played fearlessly. And he does well. And that's what you want with young players. Because I want a finisher who walks into the crease and I am calm. India have been calm since Mahendra Singh Dhoni started playing for them. That he walks into the crease and he's just chilled. And you as a fan are as calm as a potato. So, yeah.
You know, I totally understand what you're saying regarding Marco Murray. In fact, I think, I've seen in the Mzansi Super League that he's able to hit like right from the word go. I mean, maybe it could be worth a try because there's the other mentality, like no risk, no reward. So if he happens to do well, like in the franchise T20 tournament that's slated in for next year, I think he could be well within reach, and I think he should be worth a try. It's just me. I mean, I'm a more I tend to have a more conservative mindset. Like I want to back the folks that have been doing it well for a while recently, or back those who have debuted for South Africa more recently, because they'll need the game time, they'll need the exposure, they'll need all this handy experience to eventually make it big from then onwards. But yeah, I understand your point.
I just want to touch on something that Abai said about being it too soon for other guys. I think that's one of the problems with our cricket. We are forever trying to think: is it too soon? Are we bringing in players of time? Which is probably why we find ourselves in the situation that we're in. We've lost AB, we've lost Hash. We've lost so many batsmen, we've lost so much experience, and now we have a lot of youngsters coming in. Not only youngsters in terms of age, but batsmen whose international careers are so young that now you have people still trying to find their feet, and they don't have someone who's experienced in the batting lineup that they can say, well, this is a guy that I actually go to for just to have a chat and to try and understand my game. Whereas if we still had perhaps a JP Jumini in the side, or an AB or a Hash, it would be easier for the younger guys coming in. And the other thing is, we will never know when it's too early to bring in someone. Like Mpo said, I asked a question the last podcast that we had about how we play our cricket. I think it was Henry was here, and he mentioned something. He said the way we approach our cricket in South Africa is that we're too conservative. It's something I've personally have had a problem for the past 2 or 3 years that I've been saying. Even as coaches, we try and be too conservative, and that's not how you're going to win a World Cup. You need to be fearless to win a World Cup. You need to go out there and boss the other team, because for so many years, South Africa, the Proteas have been known as fighters. We don't give up. Those are good qualities to have. It's good to be fighters, but I personally want us for a change to be the team that bosses other teams. We need to bully other teams. If you're playing against a weak side, people need to see that we were playing against a weak side. If we're playing against a side that we are on level terms, we need to see. But if you look at how we've been playing I don't know for how long, you look at us playing against weak sides. You look at in Australia, for instance, playing against a weak side. Australia, let's say they bowl a team out for 150 in a 50-over match. Australia won't try and just play just to win the game. Just play. Doesn't matter even if we chase it in 50 overs. They're going to come out there. They're going to play their natural game. They're two openers, Finch and Dave. They're going to come out there. They're going to come guns blazing. And then if they lose wickets, that's when they start saying, okay, this is how we can win the game. But with us, it's like We tell our openers, just go out there. It's fine if you can chase it in 50 overs. And then you find people, they're not playing in their natural game. You look at a Quinton Ducop, for example, in World Cups. He comes in. You can see that he's stressing because he's trying to play this game that is not his. But if we let people be their natural, especially in T20 cricket, you need people to be fearless in that format. You can't have people coming in trying to nuts the ball around all the time. You still need people like Marco to come in, play his natural game because he's a fierce batsman, and that's what we need in that side.
That's an excellent point.
Yeah, partnerships everywhere around. I think like opening partnerships, 3 and 4, 5 and 6. They need to think about partnerships in that way. 7, 8. Who bats well together? Who can have good understanding? All of those things come to an equation. Whose styles complement each other? Who can switch it on and off when they need to? Those are all important. Right. Jessica October actually says in the comments over here, good openers take a huge load off the finishers, in my opinion, and she's right.
That's right on target. Yep.
Yeah. So, Ba, what do you want to say?
Going back to the fearless discussion point that Lubabalo made, I want to take it back to last year. I think it was a T20 series against Sri Lanka. So we had called up Chile. So he hadn't played any T20 cricket before, and this was going to be his first series. And strangely enough, he did not get a chance to bat in either game. So and then he just disappeared from the T20 setup. I mean, this was our moment to back him and see if we could bring out the best in him. And now I think he played in the MSL, and I don't think things went well enough for him last year. But I think a strong season in franchise cricket could bring him back into the thick of things as soon as possible. But then again, he's one to look out for. I wouldn't necessarily say he's a finisher, but he's definitely a solid player. Yeah.
That deserves a like, comment, share, subscribe, guys. Come on now. Where else in the world have you seen America talk about cricket? Come on now. This is the only platform.
It definitely does. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, Paul, what do you think about those comments that you made?
Look, I'm with Lubabalo on here. Aggressive cricket is what's in the world right now. You need to be aggressive from the word go. And it's your mindset. It's always asking yourself, where's your next run going to come from? It's not trying to protect your wicket. It's a different way of playing cricket, and that's very important. The Sinatembea issue for me largely was he was brought in as cover to be a wicketkeeper. Nobody wanted to back his batting. He would have batted high if he was going to come in. They batted him very low down, and in those T20s, the first one was rained out. The second one, I think South Africa got there with the openers. And so it was very unfair, the fact that he never got an opportunity to play again. Yes, he had a bad season last year. He's one for the future, but from a finishing discussion, he needs to probably get in a shorter format of the game, he needs to be batting higher. I'm okay with him batting at 6 as a wicket-keeping option. I think he'd be great in like an ODI setup, but from a T20, I kind of felt that call-up was an acknowledgement that he had a great season, but in the wrong format. Sinatembea was averaging, I think, 50 plus in the red ball format, and that was just a little bit unfair on the young man. But he took it in a stride, and we're not going to say no to Proteas caps. I'm not going to. So yeah.
Bo, I got something to add. Yeah, so I think regarding the aggressive cricket discussion, when we had Otis Gibson as coach, he was more of an attack-minded guy, and I think he wanted the South Africans to play more aggressive cricket. But the fact of the matter is, even if you're going to play aggressive cricket, you've got to be prudent. You've got to be methodical about it. Like you can't just go out there with an attacking mindset. You need to have you need to have a proper approach, and you need to know what to do, when to do, how to do. So I think with Boucher as coach, I think we could change the brand of cricket we play, and I think exciting times are going to be ahead.
So here was my problem with South Africa's cricket, was that they were so fixated about keeping wickets in the first 15 overs of an ODI rather than necessarily taking advantage of the first power play. And my issue was around that. It's, yes, we don't want to lose many wickets, but for at least allow the openers to try and put the bowlers under pressure. If you can put the bowlers under pressure in the first 10 or 15 overs, your innings is sorted. Yes,
exactly.
Hard, but maybe you cap it and say, if we've lost 2 wickets and 3 and 4 are in, then we can then go into another plan. But we only had plan A, and plan A carried on from Russell Domingo, who somehow cherished the first 15 overs like it was gold. And I get the fact that you need to get to over 30 with as many wickets that you have in the bag, but as England does it, England does not care what over you're in. They will try and look for the next run wherever it is. And if they get bowled out for 180, that's fine. If they get to 350, that's great. But they've gotten to 350 a lot more often than they actually got out before 180. And that says something about the way you play cricket. And I know that our batsmen have the ability to be able to do that like anybody else in the world. It's just the way in which everyone wants to die for the team rather than allowing guys to play. Quinton de Kock has another level in him. We're waiting for it to come out. The only problem is, I think, is the coaching. I think the coaching staff have kind of told him to take it easy at the top, whereas he can be as deadly as David Warner and Aaron Finch, or even Jason Roy and Johnny Bairstow. I don't see a difference between Quinton de Kock and those four that I've named.
It's interesting you brought up these English players, because if we look at how they were 4, 5, 6 years ago, they were playing more traditional ODI cricket, like a couple of rock solid players, like just setting up the platform, not scoring very fast. But if we look over the years, now they have Jason Roy, Johnny Bairstow. They're two fearless hitters, and they're very versatile players at that as well. And that was a key contributing factor to what totally morphed their team into the ODI juggernaut they are this year and in the World Cup last year.
Yeah, I'm just looking at your screen. I'm sorry, I was a little bit distracted by the fact that you're walking under a bridge. I'll never do it.
Every time you get to see different views. That's the perk with having me on board. Got it?
Okay, cool. So Ashwadi wants to give one more comment. I'm gonna let him do it, and then we can go into the next one. What do you want to say, bro?
Hello, guys. I want to add one more point. South African cricket should follow England model that Ian Morgan did it after the 2015 World Cup. Andrew Strauss and Ian Morgan set up, and they say we have to play aggressive brand of cricket. So after that, you see in 2019 World Cup, you see their results. I think South Africa have to play same brand of cricket. They have to invest in youngsters like Ryan Rickelton, Cyril Irvine, Ryan Van Tonder, these type of guys. And I think Gerald Coetzee, it is his time to step in.
So that question,
one more guy, Thando Natini, he is also good.
I asked Owen Morgan that question in the press conference here at Newlands. I asked him about his brand of cricket, and he told me specifically, he said he wants to play a positive, attacking, smart brand of cricket. Now, what makes England so much different to all the other teams is that smart aspect of the game. There's one thing playing an attacking, positive brand of cricket, like South Africa tried to do for the World Cup. Otis Gibson came in here. He wooed all of us. West Indian accent, chilled guy, walked into the press conference with swag, sat at the desk, spoke to us and told us, we're going to play this positive attacking brand of cricket. We thought, okay, wow, you were in the England camp. Obviously, you're going to bring that type of style over here. And then I watched him do it, and I was like, they're not playing smart cricket. They're walking out to the middle, no matter if you're 3 down, 2 down, 1 down, on a track that is not conducive to that type of style of cricket, and they're swinging away. How many times under Otis before we went to the World Cup did we just see them just stand there and just try to swing at balls that they had to leave, or try to swing at balls that they couldn't play? I mean, they didn't adapt their game to the situation, and that was my issue. And then when I asked him that in the press conference as well, when I saw that happen and we just collapsed, he was like, you'll rather see them have a go and put all of everything on the field than them be conservative. And then I was like, okay, that's what you want to do.
One thing England did, they don't flood it with full youngsters. They have Ian Morgan, Ben Stokes, who played cricket from past 3-4 years, and as well as Butler as well. So they have experience side, plus they blooded with youngsters. South Africa can do this by they have De Kock, Rassie van der Dussen, and you can say that all-rounder, I don't remember, and I'll help you. Okay? they can add with the 3-4 youngsters, so they can make a very good side. That's my point is.
Okay, thanks, bro. Thanks a lot for your point. Get into the comment section. Go get these people to talk in the comment section over there, Ashwani. You like to be active there. Spur some of them on. Let them give you some reaction there in the comment section on the live chat. We'll speak to you again soon. See you.
Thank you, sir. Thanks, sir.
Thank you. Rubabalu, what's your thoughts on that? What he said? Because I mean, we saw it. Us try this positive brand of cricket in a way. You actually spoke about it earlier. It's about guys playing the natural game. And if South Africans play the natural game, we'll naturally be playing a positive brand of cricket, isn't it?
Yeah. With Otis, I always felt we were not playing an aggressive brand of cricket. Our fast bowlers were bowling aggressively in terms of the short bowling and stuff, but we overdid it most of the time. I watched us get spanked by Bangladesh because we were just bowling short. And it doesn't work like that. Anyone can tell you. Even the great West Indian fast bowlers will tell you. It's not just about coming in and banging it shot. You need to be smart, as you said. So with our batsmen, I think we don't necessarily have to copy England, for instance.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't like the brand of cricket they play. I feel it's too reckless. It has been working for them because I think a lot of teams sort of approach England with a lot of fear because they know the firepower that they have. But for me personally, I think the brand of cricket is positive, but it's also, I feel it's reckless most of the time because they will either score a huge total or they'll be bowled out for a very cheap small total. There's never an in between for that side. But for us, I think if we just play our batsmen play their natural game, you look at a Quinton de Kock. Queenie is going to come in. If he plays his natural game, he's going to score. He's going to play positive cricket. Even when we still had Hash opening with Queenie, Hash was striking the ball at 90% strike rate. And he wasn't even going for boundaries. He was playing his natural game. So for me, as a South African, our natural game is positive. Even a guy like David Miller, his natural game is positive. So we don't have to come out there and play like your Jason Roy or Johnny Bairstow and stuff like that. I remember when they were here, there was this year they were here. They won the first 2 ODIs, and then we came back and won the series 3-2.
Yes.
That was because of the brand of cricket they were playing. They just most of the time they just come out and just try and smash the ball, and it doesn't work like that. Because if you go back to that series and look at how Jason Roy went out most of the time, our bowlers were just bowling test match line and length. If the ball does a bit, Jason Roy's going to nick off. I can tell you now. I can even bet, even though I don't have money, I can put money on that. With a guy like Jason Roy with those hard hands, you just bowl test match line and length. Just try and get the ball to do something. He's going to go out. And because he plays one way, him and Besto, they play one way. For them, it's all about trying to hit it's not going to work all the time. You watch them on slow wickets. They on slow wickets, they're gonna smack you. Take them to a wicket that's doing something a bit, they struggle because they play. I don't think it's their natural game. Not all of them, but their team has too many dynamic players. A lot of their players are dynamic. So for us, I don't think it would work for South Africa to have so many X factor players, for instance. We stick to how we select our teams. We stick to how we keep the balance of our team, and then we just play naturally. Because I've always felt the Proteas going into matches, they go in to try and not lose instead of going into matches to win matches. I'm not sure if I make sense. Those two things sound the same. They sound the same, but they're different. Winning is also a mental thing. If you lose the game in your head before you go play, might as well not go play.
Okay, bye. Closing statements before we say bye to you.
Oh my God! Totally forgot to unmute my mic. But anyway, I think. Well, I'm going to leave with this much. So I think the MSL is like it's a pretty good indicator as to as to finding top young talent in South Africa as far as T20 cricket is concerned. And I think over the course of the next year or so, I think we're going to find some top young players. I mean, even in the Under-19 World Cup, well, we found a lot of talent with bat, ball, all rounders. I think I can leave it at that. And before I go, I want to say one last thing. If you haven't already, fans, please like, share, and subscribe. And please subscribe to the monthly magazine. You'll find it on cricketfanaticsmag.com. All that cool stuff is there. I've written a couple of articles on the MSL. There's been a great debate on that with Mark and myself. You can check that out. And Khalid, thanks for having me. It was great talking to you, Lubabalo and Mpo. Take care. Good night.
See you, man. Cheers. Peace. Cool. Wow. A lot he said over there. Who wants to go first?
I think I'll do it. Look, I understand Lubabalo, and I think largely that's where my point comes in. It's a mindset. You have to go in trying to win a game. And my issue is I don't mind you trying to go and win a game and only scoring 180. Yes, in the middle of that 180, there must be a plan B. If plan A is not working, there must be a plan B. South Africa have always never had a plan B. It's always play a natural game. And if your natural game is swing and miss, what's plan B? And plan B comes with number 3 and number 4 being able to be adaptable. We've had AB de Villiers, we have Faf du Plessis, we've had David Miller in that 3-4-5 axis, including JP Drimini, and they should be the guys to be able to mold an innings and change an innings if things go badly. The issue with South African cricket is that you'll do that because you'll try that, and then all of a sudden you realize that your job's on the line, and then you'll want to toe the team line at a time where the team doesn't need you to toe the line. The team needs to show you brilliance. So I think that's where the issue is with South African cricket. It's a mindset thing, which is why, from a mindset perspective, England's mindset has always been, we want to attack you. We're here to make you uncomfortable. And that's what I'm saying. I'm not a fan for going to get boundaries from ball one. I think that's sometimes it can be not the best strategy. But the mindset of saying, I want to go and manipulate the field to get a run. That's the type of thing that I'm trying to get across. Virat Kohli does that well. Even if you look at 3 and 4 in England, Joe Root and Ben Stokes do it incredibly well for England, and so does Owen Morgan in terms of manipulating the field, rotating the strike, getting the thing. South Africans get bogged down in that whole hesitant situation of, do I hit the ball? Do I sit? I'd rather you hit the ball than just sit in that little I'm tentative, and then you nick off because you're in between back and forward. So to a certain extent, that's what a finisher comes in, to just bring it all back. A finisher's mind is clear. A finisher's mind knows what he wants to do. If it's 40 of 20, if it's 36 of 10, he understands where he needs to get his points, and where he needs to get his runs, and where he needs to let the ball go, or even rotate the strike. It's a mentality thing of, I've done this before, I can do it again. That's why the greatest finishers in the world, Dhoni, Klusna, that's what they understood. They understood how to put pressure back onto the fielding side to make sure that they do an incredible job.
That was one of my criticisms about AB de Villiers as captain. Because what happened was, what I saw when he was captaining, it's almost like he had a spreadsheet or notes that I must, especially with our bowling, I must bowl KG opening, and I must bowl Dale opening, and then I must have my first change bowler, then I must have my spinner bowl a bit, then I must bring back my speed fast bowlers again, and he just stuck to that mold. He didn't switch according to, like, oh, wait a minute here, Cage is getting punished, let me make a decision to bring on a spinner to just consolidate everything and just slow the game down a bit because we're going to get punished, otherwise they're going to post a massive score. He just persisted. It's almost like he over-trusted his players to and back them in that format that he was told by the coach or whatever the case may be. Whereas with someone like Quinton de Kock, that's why I respect him so much as a white ball cricketer. If he decides, look here, wait a minute, we batted on this wicket, this British turn a bit, let me just open up with Bjorn Fortuin here. You'll take a risk. And I like that about his thinking, because what people don't realize, yes, he might speak a little bit weird in a press conference, and he's not the most natural and outspoken person when it comes to interviews, but his cricketing brain, is flipping unbelievable. The way he thinks about the game is amazing. And I can tell you, I can vouch for him with regards to that, because I've spoken to him off camera. And I had conversations with him about things, and he just understands it. He understands the game. Like I can say something, and I was so sure about the point, and then he would say, "Ah, it's not really like that. You can't really see it like that. You know what I mean? There's other variables here at play as well." And that's so key to having a good captain as well. And what you're saying about plan B as well, that's what we didn't have under Otis. We'd go out swinging, we'll lose quick wickets, and then we'll be like, oh, let's just continue with that positive random cricket. That smart factor is what I'm talking about. That's why even for England, they mustn't forget about that smart aspect that Owen Morgan wants to play. Yeah. So Valo destroy me there.
I'm no, I'm actually with you on AB's captaincy. A lot of times I also felt like maybe he was reciting a poem or something through his captaincy. He was trying to memorize. It was almost like he sat down with someone and then someone said to him, first 3 overs, this needs to happen. Next 4 overs, this you could almost predict his captaincy. Even with the field, in the middle overs, you find that we were giving batsmen just easy singles, men on the boundary. Even when teams were struggling, he could have a team for 100 for 6, and he would still have men on the boundary giving away free singles. So, with regards to his captaincy, I agree there. I'm also with Paul in terms of playing positive cricket. With Otis, I felt maybe the guys they did not buy into his positive brand of cricket to a point where it was not here, but they kept trying to play that Otis Gibson. So they were sort of caught in 2 minds. It was like, do I leave or do I play?
Mm.
So it's not easy. It's not easy to try and play a game that's not in your head. I remember it was against India how Rassi went out. I don't remember who the spinner was. Was it Chaha or who? First ball, Rassi was trying to reverse sweep. There was no need for the shot, by the way. The shot was needless.
It was Shahal. It was Shahal.
yeah.
There was no need for that shot. He went for it, and then he was bold. So that's the thing you want to try and balance between playing positive cricket and still being smart. There's no in between. Playing positive cricket doesn't mean go and give away your wicket. It also doesn't mean just be bogged down. The only way to avoid being bogged down is to rotate strike. And that's one thing a lot of batsmen need to understand, especially against a spinner. The only way to avoid being bogged down is to rotate the strike. Because that's when you even the spinner now is going to start thinking, because he's not getting wickets. They brought him to come and get wickets, but then now he's not getting them. And with regards to our finishes, I had a special
sorry. Just side note on what you said there to David Miller, but not with your tail. But continue.
Yeah, not with the tail. Yes, not with the tail. Not with the tail. Not with the tail. I actually had a special name for today. I'm not someone who always looks at the numbers, especially if I've seen a player play more than once. There's a guy from Warriors, Lesiba Ngwepe. He hits the ball cleanly. He can rotate the strike as well. I'm not saying for the pro tiers, but I'm saying he's definitely someone that we could look to see. I think it's going to be a peak season for him this coming season, especially in white ball cricket. He can hit the ball. He can also bowl, by the way. He offers some decent offies as well. He's a really good fielder as well. He's definitely someone I'd say probably in the next coming years, he would be someone who would actually be able to fill in that finisher role. But I'm hoping that he comes into his own this season and breaks out of his shell, because he's a really good batsman. I rate him. I've watched him live a couple of times, and he can bat.
I back you on the Ngwepe call. I have another question. Andile Petlugwayo, he hasn't been mentioned in this thing. Can he become that finisher, or do we want him to be more of a consistent run scorer first before we start relying on him? He's had a couple of innings where he's pulled South Africa through towards the back end, but is he a guy that we're looking to say that number 7 spot can be yours, even 6, if you be more consistent? Because numbers don't say what our eyes see.
See, for me, I would love to see him at 7. I mean, sorry, at 8. Sorry. Imagine having him coming at 8 if you have a proper batting all rounder at 7. Like, that's why I want Jason Smith to just take a finger and just like, I know it's happy birthday to you, Jason. I love you. But this is birthday today. I don't want to say anything bad about him. But that's why I want Jason to just, it's his season now to step up and really put his name in the hat, because he's that type of batting all rounder that we craved for so many years. I feel similarly to someone like Vian Mulder. I think that it's also his turn this year. He's still very young, so he has a couple of years to still get into that mold. Another guy like Marco Jansen and Dwan Jansen, both of them, another opportunity. I love Andile's attitude, but I feel he can be quite. He only has one game plan, man. And if it doesn't work for me when it comes to batting, he only has like one approach, I feel. And when it doesn't work, I don't think he knows how to switch, man. And I think that you'll learn that with more experience, of course. But can we afford to wait on that and rest on our laurels because of his age, just because we want to sort it out? I think that if we bring a number 7 in that can do that job, then you don't need to pick that type of number 8. You understand what I mean? So we can have a finish at 8 as well.
Do you think the Dolphins have been playing him low down than he's supposed to be? Because I don't think Andile should be batting at 6 for the Dolphins. I think he should be batting higher up. And that's part of the reason why he hasn't had the opportunity.
For me, Andile, it's a tough one for now, because you can see he has a lot of potential with the ball, with the bat, I mean. You can see there's something there, but I agree with Khalid there. I think he's someone who tends to have one game plan, which is muscling the ball. Muscling the ball, it doesn't
reverse
work all
sweep.
the time. Yeah, and reverse sweep. Reverse sweep. It's not something that always works, to be honest. Let's say you're chasing 60 runs. You still have a lot of even if it's not 60 runs. Let's say you have about 15 overs to bat. If you're just gonna come and want to smash the ball, you won't be able to take the team through. So for me, one part of his game that he needs to work on is strike rotation. Sometimes the ball's not there for you to hit for 6. Sometimes the ball's not there for you to reverse sweep. Sometimes the ball's just there for you to just nudge for 1, go to the other end. And that's a game that's missing in his batting, I feel. But he's definitely someone I see at 7. Maybe not now, maybe in the next couple of years. But he's definitely someone I'd see at 7, because he can hit the ball. He just needs to mature as a batsman. He just needs to understand his game, which is something I've always wanted to ask him. Has he ever been told his role in the team with the bat? Because sometimes we criticize players with regards to how they play, but chances are they don't know their role in the team. As a coach, for me personally, I feel the player needs to know why they're in the team and what they're expected to do with the bat. So it's not just about, I need to bat. Andile, today you're going to bat 7 for us. Okay, coach, I get it. I bat 7, but what's my role batting at 7? You check. So that's one thing I've always wanted to ask him whenever I get a chance to have a chat with him, because I feel sometimes he bats like he doesn't understand his role. So I don't want to assume that he doesn't understand his role, and then it turns out he has never been told his role. No one has ever sat down with him and said, well, this is an outline of your role in the team. And also I feel sometimes, maybe in the last season he did get a chance to bat at 7, but seasons before that, I always saw him at 8. So it's not easy to bat a lot at 8 in your franchise, and then when you go into international cricket now, you're expected to bat 7. For me, I think it's a massive shift, because those are two different positions. Batting at 8, you sort of relax at times. You're thinking, I'm not always going to be needed to score runs. Batting at 7 for the Proteas, especially because we've been collapsing for a long time, it's a huge shift now. For example, for the Dolphins, you come in at 8, you need to score a 20-ish, and then for SA, you're coming in at at 7, for instance, and you need to score 50 plus. So it's different. in that regard.
Yeah, because when I spoke to Lance Klusner about him, he said the same thing that you said. They must understand his role. What is his role in the side? He's a player in there that can really take it to the next level. He needs the right coaching, and this is why I thought it was a master move by Cricket South Africa to appoint Neil McKenzie as a batting lead, because there was no connection for me between domestic cricket and international cricket. The connection wasn't strong enough for me. I didn't feel that the national coach was talking to every single franchise coach and saying, "Look, hey, how's this guy doing? Is he a batting all-rounder? Is he a bowling all-rounder?" Because the time for them to go travel to every single franchise every single week to go watch everybody play is tough. So to have a batting lead over there that can go, who the Proteas or Cricket South Africa can send through and say, "Okay, look here, maybe Dwan Jansen needs a bit of work on his batting. Maybe he needs to play the straight bat a lot more and not look for the flamboyant shots," then send Neil McKenzie down to the Knights for for a week or so. Let him go work with those batsmen that need that help. Then the Cobras need some help with the top order batsmen. Maybe Tony de Souza is not really finding his form. He needs someone extra besides from Ashwell himself, who's an amazing, obviously, batting coach as well. You can send Neil McKenzie, give a different perspective, different type of playing drills. He can give his incentives over there. And that's what I love about the way the Proteas managing team is set up. Werner Erasmus says it perfectly over here. I think the biggest thing is to show intent with the bat, to run hard and put pressure on the fielders. Now, that is it. You don't want to just rotate because you need to rotate and to show off. You want to rotate because that's needed in that particular time in the match. And another thing Janine says, adapt, improvise, overcome. Bear Grylls. That is exactly it. South Africans need to learn how to adapt their game to situations. The Bokke did it well towards the end, towards them winning the World Cup. We were all talking, sitting there and saying, "Hey, why do they keep on kicking the ball? Every single time Faf takes the ball, he boots it up, he boots it up, he boots it up." They were practicing it to the extent so that they can switch it on when it's needed in a massive game like the World Cup final. So like there's certain things you want to see, like you want to see a plan. Like that's what people are saying about, I don't want to talk about this now, but that's what people say about United. They want to see a plan. They want to see a style of play. They want to see a plan.
I'm gonna save you there. I agree with you, and that's what I think for me, from a cricketing perspective, with South Africa building for that 2019 World Cup, we never had situational cricket moments where there were moments for coaches to take guys through situations. To say, okay, fine. There was a great game in Australia. I think it was the third ODI when we played in Australia where David Miller scored 100 against. That was a chance situational cricket moment. But from a captaining perspective, I felt that towards the end of 2018, Faf kind of let everything go, and he was captaining by numbers rather than situations. And in cricket, it's very hard to create situations like in rugby where you can tell Faf to repeatedly kick, to box kick all the time. Whereas in cricket, you need to learn from situations and put people in those situations to teach them how to handle certain situations. The problem I have with the way Andila's been treated in Proteas cricket and in franchise cricket is that, and I haven't met the man. It's what I've seen is that he cannot bat at 8 at the Dolphins or even below 6 at the Dolphins if he's going to be relied on as an all-rounder, or his batting is going to be relied on as a finisher or in the back end of an innings. He needs to bat at 5 at least. And to a certain extent, like you said, Khalid, that connection between what the Proteas plans are and what the Dolphins plans are needed to be discussed. Because every time I looked at a Dolphins scorecard, Andila was batting at 6 and below. And that for me is kicking yourself in the foot for a guy who's probably one of the best middle over bowlers in the world right now. And a guy who has the ability with the bat to take games away from people, and probably even has the best mindset I think he had the best mindset out of the Proteas in the 2019 World Cup than anybody. Because the man just kept on doing what he came to do, and he did his job. But nobody ever allowed him to do his job with the bat, because you're seeing someone in one light. And that's the problem that I have with necessarily the way people in South Africa see cricket. You see a bowler who can bowl well, but you don't see the ability that he can become an incredible all-rounder. He's not going to become Lance Klusener. He's not going to become a Jacques Callis, but he can be some sort of somewhere there to meet a gap, to meet a need. And that's where I see Andile. Andile meets a Proteas need over and above anybody else. But the problem is that nobody's ever taken into account that he needs to improve his batting. And the place where he needs to improve his batting, nobody actually thinks he can bat. If you're batting at 7 and 8, but the Proteas are batting you higher up, it makes no sense to me. And so that's where I think Neil McKenzie will make a lot more sense. And from a bowling perspective, but it's also about situational cricket in domestic and franchise cricket. Yes, you need to teach guys how to build an innings, how to close an innings, how to be able to manage it. And that's the type of stuff I think I'd like the coaches, Robbie, Astral, Prince, to try to put the younger guys through their paces. Try and get them into those situations. And if they fail, they fail. Give them as many opportunities as possible. And that's why the MSL was so key, because we got to see guys like Marco Murray do it in pressure situations. I got to see that Dwayne Pretorius could actually bat at 4 in a T20. It doesn't make sense to me. I never thought of it, but on a slow wicket, Dwayne Pretorius seems to be the answer. But nobody's ever thought of that. And it takes a guy like Jeff Tayana to kind of, and the guys at the Paul Rocks to say, hey, maybe this is the way to go. But that's the type of situational cricket I want to see our Proteas being put through, because when you at the biggest stage, then you can say, okay, he's done this before. He did it in his franchise. But you can't necessarily come and say, no, I want Andile to bat 7 and for him to bat well, but you're not backing him on from a domestic game. And I think that's what we want, especially for all our youngsters, to make sure that our youngsters have a nice toolkit when they go internationally, so that they don't necessarily, even if they fail, they know that they've been there before, rather than we pick the best names in South Africa. We don't pick the best guys for situations. And I think that for me is the one thing about being able to improvise and adapt and overcome. That's how you do it. Get guys into situations so they know what to do, rather than just throwing people in the deep end and saying, hey, swim. And when they don't swim, you throw them off onto the looked at again.
Also, what got to do with Werner Erasmus's comment over here, where he says, one side note, I'm looking forward to see Markram make a big comeback this season. He struggled at the World Cup. Despite his obvious talent and performances for the Titans, he steps up. Now, where you said over there right now, it's also about giving our players the best opportunities to perform and be their best at the right times. That is very important. At the World Cup, they didn't play Markram at Southampton. At a place where he had a great county season, understood the conditions, had an amazing run over there, they dropped him for the game at Southampton. And I'm like, he showed some signs in the beginning games. He showed that he could take that extra spot. Let him have a run in that side. Let him play at his home ground that he plays for the county cricket. Like, I didn't understand that. And there's certain things like that where I think that we need to take advantage of our advantages. Take advantage of your home conditions, for example, when you're playing against top teams. Like, play your best teams according to situations. That's why I want to emphasize that a squad is important. A squad for that particular conditions. We need to think now. We're playing in India. There's going to be an opportunity here to play maybe 3 spinners that can bat. Take it. Have a strike bowler as a spinner, like an Imran Tahir, but stack that team with players that can battle 8-9, because you're going to need them. Especially when we're struggling against spin. Play your best players against spin. We need to go on a scouting trip now when the season starts in November. Look around the country, go learn what it's like. Tanisha Devnarain spoke to me in the week. You guys can go watch that episode in the Daily Show on our playlist, where she had spent some time with the Dolphins, and she helped coach the Dolphins for a bit, gave them some tips, and she said specifically on spin. And you've got guys messaging her and talking to her, Marcus Ackerman, obviously Grant Rulofson, asking her advice and saying we never thought about it in that way. Get people that understand these conditions, get people that understand how to do these things and let them help and aid. And that's what's so important, that we have this batting leads, etc. Yashar says over here, it would be awesome if the Dolphins bat ideally 5 and 6 and hopefully a county stint. Hopefully a county stint. The ground of county cricket would be a fantastic education for him. If there's space for him there, yes. I mean, they counties are looking for overseas players every They're looking for overseas players all around. And I mean, if they want to, obviously they want to promote they're very big on all rounders. So obviously it's very seldom that they're going to go sign an all rounder. They're most likely going to sign people in the upper half of the table, because they're big batsmen obviously go around and they play cricket around the countries, around the world, sorry. And obviously they're going to need to stack them up with top batsmen, so their bowlers get they're smart the way they do their recruiting. Mind you that they're very smart the way they do their recruiting in England. It's unbelievable. It would be very good for Andile, I think, a county stint.
Even an IPL stint.
Even an IPL stint. And that was one of
Yeah,
our
like-
names that we spoke about, Lubabalo. We mentioned maybe Andile coming into the equation for maybe next year's draft.
Just two things for me. The first one is I agree with what you just said now with the pro tiers. I feel we don't use the numbers properly. That's one thing we don't do. I think we don't look at the numbers. Another example is I remember at the last World Cup, I said personally, Imran Tahir is a great bowler, great leg spinner, but I would never play him against India. And that was before I had sat down and checked his numbers against India. India can play leg spin. They've been good against leg spin. Like they can struggle against any other type of bowler, but not leg spin. I went and checked his numbers, and when I got there, it was bad. We played him. How many wickets did he get against India? I don't even remember. Did he get more than one? I don't remember. So I think that's one of the things. That's one of the things where we mess up. I can track back to when we had AB, we had JP, and then Faf is still there. I believe in playing people where they're most effective. There was this obsession with having AB face the most balls, and AB is most effective when he's coming in from over 30 or after that. So the obsession with forcing him to play at 3, even at 4, yet you had JP Dumini who had better numbers at 4, and you had Faf who had better numbers at 3, and you had AB de Villiers who was averaging close to 65 at 5. JP at that time was averaging 50 at 4, and Faf was averaging 50 as well at 3. So for me personally, in terms of numbers, because the sample is decent for all 3 of the players, in terms of numbers, your batting lineup sort of fits itself. Because I still believe JP Dumini was actually a number 4, but that's a story for another day. And the other thing I think is we sort of forget guys that bat 6 and 7, especially when we still had that top 4 that we have. You find that check Tahir got 0 for 58 in his 10 overs. That's exactly what I mean. Back to my point, and back to the point that I was making is that you find that for the Proteas, when we have a solid top 4, your number 6 and 7 sometimes don't even get to bat. But when they have to come and bat, it's when we really, really, really need them. So it's not always going to be easy. That's why I feel maybe sometimes if we have a platform, just tell number 3 and 4 just to chill. Like you guys have been batting every single match that we've played. Take your number 6 and 7, promote them just for them to get to bat. Because if you only get to bat in your 4th match, and that's when the team really, really needs it. You don't have a lot of balls under your belt. You don't have time in the middle, because net sessions alone don't count as time in the middle. So I think that's something we also need to try and look at. If these guys are not batting at the top for their franchises, at least give them an opportunity whenever there is one. You have 200 and something for 2. There's no need for you for 1 or whatever. There's no need for you to send your number 4 and 5 because your number 6 and 7 haven't been getting a chance to bat in a proper match. Why not send them? At least you're giving them balls to face and they get a feel of batting in the middle. Unlike having them bat when you really, really need them to bat, yet they haven't batted in like 5 or 6 matches.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. Guys, that also deserves a subscribe. Click the notification bell for all future videos. And so from your perspective, Mumpo, just your closing statements.
Look, I know we were supposed to discuss what a finisher looks like, and I think I just want people to actually think on the field. You know, I'm all for team following the team plan, but I would like an 11 of thinking cricketers in South Africa, not necessarily, yes, you need to follow behind your coach and your captain, but I want guys to play situations better. That's the only reason why we haven't actually done anything from a trophy perspective in international cricket, is because we don't know how to play pressure situations well. And the only way you can play pressure situations well is if you think. You take time out and you think. And as Ricky Ponting said from when I started playing cricket, play every ball on its merit. You don't have to go and attack every single ball, but you can have an intent to go out and play positive, have an intent to go and adapt to whatever ball gets thrown at you. If you get a good ball, you get a good ball. Herschel Gibbs always said, if I get a good ball, well done to the bowler. There's nothing more that you can do. But it's about being able to think and play a thinking cricket. We don't in South Africa. We play system cricket. It seems where you have to follow a certain system and rely on your better players to kind of excel in the system. Whereas we need guys to be improvisers, to be adapters, and we have the players to do that. It's just that we're trying to fit triangles into circles and circles into squares when if you just look at, as Lubabalo says, look at the numbers. I'm big on using stats. I'm not always keen on just having stats as the thing, because I think the eye test is also important. But play the numbers, play the game. If as Lubabalo says, if AB's better at over 30, then why not just give AB 20 overs and say, all you're going to get is as maximum 120 balls. You need to figure out what you need to do. But the rest of the guys, you need to get South Africa to a point where AB can thrive. But it's being able to have guys to be able to play the situation. We've always had one pack minded type of thinking in South Africa, just like I always like having a second spinner in a limited overs match, because I know what spin can do for you in that format. But everyone in South Africa just wants to go gung-ho with fast bowlers. Then you wonder why we lose games in World Cup finals or World Cup semi-finals when you've gone 4 fast bowlers and 1 spinner, and those middle overs were the reason why you lost the game. So I think largely for me, that's where it is. It's about getting guys who can think, and I don't care about ability. I think I care more about you being able to manage the game situations better rather than just putting the best names on paper, which is why I think this period for South Africa is very important, because if we mold this new generation of cricketers to be thinking cricketers, you can literally start an era of dominance. The best teams in the world think. They don't just play the system and hope that their talent gets them through.
So I'm going to leave you guys with a fantasy to sleep on tonight. And that is, why don't South Africa just do this for change? Because even if there is domestic cricket happening at the time, I think the assistant coaches for those teams can run the show for this period of the World Cup, the T20 World Cup. Recruit, make Enoch head coach, make Boucher assistant coach and wicketkeeper coach, make Robert Peterson spin bowling coach, make Ashwell Prince batting coach, Sean Lagerfeld bowling coach, and then we have a ball. No, I'm just kidding. But just imagine if that was actually came to fruition. I think at the moment we have a very good combination over there. Having 2 managers that have an attacking brand of cricket in their mind of the way they want to play. You could see how they ran their MSL teams. They have that in their mindset. I think the Proteas are in good hands from that perspective. We mustn't underestimate the power of Enoch and what he brings to that side, because he played amazing cricket with regards to the Lions and with regards to the MSL. He brought a whole new dynamic because with that, and it's quite interesting that we're going to get his side of things. He also has a very good eye for young talent. Lubabalo, final comments from you, and then we can call off.
Thank you. Just want to add to what Mpo said. There are 2 things I always say to my players, especially the batters. The first one I always say is good ball, respect the bowler, bad ball, put it away. But I don't leave it there. The second one that I follow up with, if you see the balls in your area and there's a certain shot you want to play, I always tell my players, I don't want to see balls in the air. But if you see the ball and you think it's there for you and it's going to be in the air, I always say, back yourself, go all out, because that's the only way you're going to pull that shot. That's the only way you're going to be successful at playing that shot. If you see the ball is there and you want to play a lofted shot, don't think about what coach is going to say if I don't get it right. Don't think about what's going to happen to the team if I don't get it right, because the fact that you thought of playing the shot means the ball was there in your area. It means the ball was there. If the ball is there for the shot, go for it, but go all out. I think sometimes that's one thing that a lot of our batsmen go out, because you sort of get the feeling that they wanted to play the shot, but there was a lot of thoughts. There was a lot going on in their heads that they were thinking, if I don't get it right, I'm gonna go out. That's one of the big problems that players have. If you want to go for that reverse sweep, it's there. Rather go for it instead of going half-hearted and not executing properly. So those are the things that I always tell them. If you want to do something, rather go all out, because you're going to learn from it. That's how we get better. That's how we become better people and better players, by making mistakes, trying new things, backing ourselves, most importantly.
It's a perfect way to sign off. Thanks a lot, guys, for tuning in. Thanks a lot for the comments that you've given me. I hope you guys are going to be on some more podcasts in the future. Of course, me and you, we will talk about it and we'll see where it goes. Thanks a lot for giving all your points on the show. Lubabalo, I love you on the show. Would like to see you back again. Thanks a lot for everybody for tuning in. Please, as Abai said, I can't say it as nasty as him, but like and comment and share and subscribe. Click that notification bell for all future videos. Don't forget to obviously download the latest issue of the magazine. The link is on the screen and in the description. We have an amazing issue, the last issue, one that's really close to me. I feel the story really impacted me a lot. And I think that any cricket fan should actually read that. Anybody in the cricket industry should read that. So thanks a lot, guys, for tuning in. And we'll see you guys again very, very soon. But of course, we're going to have the daily show as per usual tomorrow. And we'll talk about those things as we get along. Thanks a lot for tuning in. See you guys very, very soon. Take care.